Hello, everyone. Welcome to the podcast. It's Ashley.
And Sarah.
How are you doing?
Oh, I feel very zen.
You are very zen.
My heart is open. My throat feels open. Oh my gosh. This is perfect for this episode.
This is good for this episode. And welcome to everyone who's listening. If you're new, you'll find Sarah and I here every Thursday with new conversations.
And new guests. New fun.
New antics, as you
We're so happy to be here this week. It has been a huge week. So
busy.
Monday started out as International Women's Day, and we had a hell of a time. We recorded a special episode with Martina Kalades from the Life Out Loud podcast and brought in all of the B&B media women podcasters to do like one big celebration of female voices, and it was badass.
Yeah, it was so fun. We had different conversations with each guest, kind of hone in on specific topics that were relevant to their podcast, but also women and using our voices to continue podcasting.
Totally. And if you do really like podcasts, it's worth, if you haven't heard it already, it's worth going back and listening to it. So it's the episode from Monday, number 74. And it's a great exposure to 6 other podcasts to just even learn a little bit about the hosts and what they talk about on their shows. And we absolutely love it. And it was so, I'm still in awe. Like, I feel like we are just so blessed. We record at B&B Media. And every single woman in the like B&B family is incredible.
So, and everyone was just so kind to even come and give us their time and be a part of it and contribute, which was so lovely.
But they're all just powerhouses. Like, I'm just in awe.
Mm-hmm.
And like so much love for each other. We like support each other, collaborate. It just feels good. I'm just happy.
It sounds so cliche. And I know we've been talking about it a bit on social media and kind of sharing, but women supporting women, I'm into it.
Well,
and you really understand when people start supporting you and there are other peers that you might work with. For us, we've always supported each other, I think, but like these people that we don't know extremely well that are supporting this and each other, it's just so beautiful.
And it's nice that we can still appreciate like everything that we're doing, even from afar, in each other. Mm-hmm. And Geneva Dickey, who is from the
the
Book of Love. We love Geneva. She wrote us like what I can only call a love letter today, basically, talking about each of us and working together on this episode. And it was the sweetest message. And Geneva, if you're listening to this, we love you and thank you so much. I've never had anyone speak so nicely. I mean, I don't think people speak poorly, but it was just like the most heartfelt, beautiful note.
Yeah, and it came just in a nice moment today, like out of the blue.
We needed it.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
One thing though I did want to talk to you about, Ash, was like something I was reflecting on since International Women's Day, because it was such a fun day. Like we were up literally. I was up at
crack of dawn,
5:45, because we had a radio interview at 6:20, and is that right? Yeah, 6:40, and then
we had to be here.
At 6:20, and then downtown, and then we had another one right after. And then you and I think you drove me home. Your husband drove me home at 9 o'clock or 9:30 that night. So literally from dawn until dusk, we were going, and I did not stop in at all. I didn't even get a chance to listen to the episode on International Women's Day. And so when I was reflecting about this, like I kind of got it funny because, you know, we're celebrating women, and the irony of it for me was that I went through that day in my masculine energy. Like I was in the like just lists, checklists, to-dos, chaos.
Desk for 2 hours, I think.
And it felt like it passed in a flash.
Exactly.
And so, and I know that I'm in, and so it has, again, we were just talking about like what masculine and feminine energy is. And it really has nothing to do with gender. But I think for me, like I feel drained when I'm in like just focused in masculine energy for too long. It doesn't serve me, but I tend to do it in these like short bursts of intensity. But because of that, I felt so drained after. And so I've been reflecting on like basically the irony of going through International Women's Day, but leaning entirely into my masculine energy to get through it. Which I'm not a fan that I did that.
No, and we were just before we started recording today, Sarah was explaining kind of the landscape of both of these energies.
And there's different qualities.
I don't know which ones upset me more or make me feel like off, I should
Okay.
say. If I'm, like you're saying, you've kind of grabbed onto certain.
Yeah, like, so every human has masculine and feminine energy traits. It's nothing to do with gender. It's more to do with like the type of energy you bring to a situation. They're both good, you know, divine masculine, divine feminine traits. And I think, you know, some examples are like feminine traits would be like intuitive, grounded, receptive, empathetic, magnetic, supportive, open, trusting.
You are all those things.
I know, I love that. And then like masculine energy is like deeply present, doesn't judge, supportive, has discipline, focused, logical, confident, protective, accountable. And I associate those with like more action oriented things, like, and I think, but I do think when I'm too much on that side in masculine energy, I get really drained, which is why sometimes when I think back to like different parts of my career, I was burnt out because I was just like, this isn't how I'm meant to create. Like I am meant to draw on, I think, more of those feminine qualities in my work or in how I like to create.
Yeah. I feel like when I'm reading these lists of this landscape, I feel like both. Like, and I think that's what
you're
it's
probably in
important.
balance.
Yeah. Like throughout the day, there's times when I dive into one mode and then I'm in the other mode, or it's a perfect balance of like saying being intuitive or grounded and then being really like present or deeply present, I think is how it says. So I think those things, like, probably if you can bring those together, is a nice energy.
You want that like balance in some part of your life. And to be honest, I really don't know much about this. I can just tell when I'm too much in one or too much in the other because I just don't feel right.
Do you want me to check you next time?
Yeah. How are you gonna check me? Well,
like Sarah.
I mean, the indicator for me is that like I'm drained and exhausted. And I was just thinking it's funny because I know that Martina had felt like that too. I think we at one point our heads were all spinning. So
mine spins all the time.
I wouldn't change anything. Like I freaking loved Monday. I loved everything we were able to bring together and put out there. But I was just like, okay, next time, how do I do this more in my like feminine energy?
And it's interesting too for me, and as women, I think we often say yes to a lot of things and start to pile things on and think we can manage and balance. But even the few weeks leading up, managing my own tasks with work and those things, it felt, I could feel the plate getting full. Like I could feel it. And that's why
I think we all had a moment where we're like, we can't today.
Yeah. Or just like getting up earlier from 8 to 9 or something before I dive into my other work. I was like, okay, I need to do the things I need to do just to get them off. I had lists going. I know have lists, but I had like list on list of like CTV, do this, social media. And it feels like a weight has been lifted.
I know. But I think there's a way for us, and you're right, because we just get excited. Like we
also take on a lot.
We take on a lot, and then it's like an idea grows, and we get amped, and then it's just like we see the possibility, and
it's like more because we know we can do it. But actually, how much can you do? Sometimes you can't do it all.
I think this is just telling us we need to create a team.
This is what my husband
like
said.
Ideas.
He's at this time next year because we were talking with Martina about, oh, this could be a bigger, an annual thing, bigger and better every kind of thing. And Jeff said, oh, well, hopefully this time next year, you and Sarah will have at least like a social media person or someone that can respond to all the emails that come in.
We're putting it out there.
Yeah, anyone that wants to work for free, calls.
And not even that way. Sure. Someone who we will be able to pay.
That can actually
part of the team.
Put up with us because we know, and I think it's because we know what we want and we know what we want to do. We have a control problem.
We're going to. No, I think we get over that. We open up.
Okay.
But I think
the right person.
By the time we come to hiring someone, we're going to be using like human design. Mariah Pelly-Smith, who was on, was talking about, she uses astrology. We're going to be using all of these like methods to bring someone on. It'll be so funny. I can't wait. This is why I love this. This is very in alignment with our conversation today.
It is.
So today we are going to be talking about the chakras.
So interesting.
I know. This is something like I didn't know about at all.
Yeah, it's kind of something you hear about and you've seen the colors or the charts. My sister-in-law has a chakra tattoo on her forearm. And she's done Reiki and yoga training and all that, but it's something that you don't understand the connection. I don't know. I never really understood fully.
Well, so I think like for me, my first it comes up in different areas. Like it comes up in yoga and I've heard of it there. And I understand it was like an energy center. And then remember like 2 years ago now, I was starting to get this really intense throat block. Like I felt like discomfort in my throat every day. I felt like I had a lump in my throat,
How's
not a
it feel
physical,
now?
really good.
Okay.
But that's a sign for me. So that it has become like a cue if something's off or I'm not like listening, that I'll feel discomfort in my throat. But when that happened, it's like piqued an interest into me to learn about chakras, because I was like, obviously there's something here and I know nothing about it. And that was kind of like a very big exposure point for me to starting to take interest in chakras and learning about them. And they come up in my spirit cards, which, as you know, I love.
And I think that's something that people can relate to. They might not be, into chakras or understand what they do or what they mean, but they probably have had symptoms of some type of energy, stagnation or something within their body. It happened to me years and years ago with I was having heart palp, it was a bit of, I guess, stress and anxiety and things, but you don't know what it is. You don't know what's causing it, but there are kind of ways that you can tune into perhaps why.
In your body. I think so we have Fanny Attomsa on today, who's the owner of Blue Nile Massage Therapy. She's such a sweet soul. Like
she's a doula.
Oh, she's a doula. She's got a fabulous energy. She does Reiki as well, and has chakra cleanses that you can do. So some courses online, and we will share. You can follow her online at You can follow her online at bluenile.massage.wellness on Instagram, and her website is bluenilemassagetherapy.com. So we'll take those in the show notes.
And she's local here in Halifax for people if they want to. I'm assuming she can do virtual things as well.
Well, I think her chakra cleanse course is coming out, and that is like something you can do remotely. So wherever you are. But it was such a nice introduction because she really kind of broke down, chakras, what they are, this concept of energy centers in your body, and how it influences you and interacts with your body. So it's a really nice way to start tuning into your own energy and maybe discovering and learning more about yourself and how you feel. And it was nice to have her kind of break it down and even things like how they tie to our body, how they tie to our life, our emotions, and then also what happens when you have blocks. Because that's when stuff goes a little sideways. And
I think it's what do they always say that, you're trying to get signs. It's like the universe is throwing a pebble at you, they're trying to get your attention, and then eventually you get hit, and then something worse can happen.
And I love that, because here's the thing: if there is something you need to know about your body, you are going to know. Your body is going to tell you. And it will either tell you, like you're saying, with a pebble, with a little whisper. And if you're in tune with your body, you'll notice right away. And I'm getting to that point where certain things I'll wake up and I'll be like, something's wrong. Or if you don't listen, your body will eventually scream at you, which was the case when I basically had a throat block for 4 months straight and was in discomfort.
Well, and it's interesting too when you say the throat block, because she said the other chakras above or below that throat area could be blocked too. And then that's when it's kind of like one thing blocks another.
Totally. So
very interesting.
This is just a fabulous episode, a nice introduction to chakras, and it's a great place to start exploring your own energy and learning about this concept.
Yeah, how to connect.
It just feels good.
Fanny's bringing us all the goodness.
She is, and she's so sweet. You're gonna love her energy.
Yeah, let's just dive in.
All right.
All right, we're so excited to have Fanny joining us today, because this is a topic, Sarah, that we don't know a lot about but are super interested in learning. So welcome. We're so happy you're here to join us.
Thank you, guys. I'm excited to be here.
And we're so excited because Martina Kalades, who we love and we collaborate with regularly, recommended you. She said you are her favorite massage therapist. You just came she was singing from the rooftops. So
yeah,
I love her. Yeah, we've crossed paths so many times, and she's just always such a light and always so positive. So I have nothing but good things to say. I'm glad she recommended me. So I'm really excited.
And here you are.
Here I am.
The magic.
The magic of it all.
So can you kind of tell us a little bit about you? I know Sarah just mentioned you do massage therapy, but what else do you offer?
Yeah, so I am a registered massage therapist, and I'm also certified in Reiki, and I'm also a birth doula, and I am the owner of Blue Nile Massage and Wellness. So I'm really passionate about self-care and energy work, and also holistic healing in general. And with my treatments, I offer like Thai massage, Indian head massage, Reiki, hot stones, cupping, and then general Swedish massage, and a lot of like home care advice and like clinical assessment tips, referrals to different practitioners. So
We
like
love that.
And you're a mom.
And I'm a mom. I have a 10-year-old boy and 4-month-old twins. Actually, they're gonna be 5 months on the 3rd of March. So they're
Oh
they're
my
close
gosh,
to-
soon.
Still very fresh though. I feel like 5-month-old twins
Yeah.
is
That's a
they've
lot.
been inside longer than they've been outside.
This is true.
So they are very fresh.
we love that.
Gosh.
No, you are a Wonder Woman. And when so how Martina, this is all coming back to me now. How Martina brought you up was we were telling her that we were dying to learn more about chakras and wanted to talk to someone in Halifax about this. And she was like, you need to talk to Fanny. Like she's been doing these videos on them. And that's how we ended up reaching out to you. But you know, you mentioned Reiki. Ash and I are huge fans of holistic healing. We love Reiki and we love
Everything magical, as Sarah would say.
Everything magical.
Everything
Yeah.
outside of the things we've been taught, basically our whole lives. But it's so
Yeah.
interesting. This is such good timing because Sarah, as we were just chatting before we jumped on, we were interviewing Stephen Dixon and she was like needing time at the beginning. She's like, I'm so restricted. My throat. Is that how you describe it?
Yeah, my throat was blocked. I thought I was going to cry.
Oh.
And that happens to you a lot.
It does.
It happens to me a lot too.
Really?
My throat chakra is my most challenging chakra. So I can totally relate to blockages there. I have to work on it consistently. And you know, it can be caused by many different things, but I have some tips that I can share with you for sure. How to try to get that cleared up a bit.
Love that. I'm going to come see you because I do want to kind of get your tips and work with you on this one.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you get from, because you started working as a massage therapist before you kind of discovered Reiki, is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I think I've always kind of had this understanding of energy, just like an awareness that there's energy all around us. I didn't know how to speak the language, I guess you could say. Like I didn't know the right words and how to explain it and how to articulate it properly. But I knew that there was a really big connection between energy and our mental health, our emotional health, and our physical health, especially as a massage therapist. People who come in with like different physical ailments, from like a headache to like tense muscles, even disease, which is dis-ease, which we like to call it dis-ease. Illnesses, usually they're under a lot of stress, and that is also related to an imbalance in energy. So I always kind of knew that they went hand in hand, but I couldn't really fully understand it until I took the Reiki training.
Right.
Yeah. And so yeah.
No, I just, the thing I find so interesting about that is that you said you didn't really have the language for it. And I feel like I'm discovering that all the time. I'm like describing things and then I'll talk to people about it and they'll tell me and they'll be like, this is actually what this is. And
it's a real thing. Yeah.
It's interesting. A massage therapist I've gone to for years and years, she also has her Reiki training. So we call it her levels. Yep. And she doesn't really do it anymore, but she told me once when we were talking about it that because they are so connected in the body, she typically still uses a lot of Reiki techniques in her massage therapy, but that's unknown to me. But it's just interesting how she could probably pick up on certain like stagnations or certain
Absolutely.
troubled areas and
Yeah.
treat them that way.
Yeah, and you incorporate it into every treatment without even realizing it. I was practicing Reiki before I even knew what Reiki was. And
Really?
and someone had mentioned that to me, and I was like, "Oh, that's really interesting." And so it's just about energy and movement of energy and energy healing. And yeah, I think when I found out that there was a Reiki training that was available by one of my favorite teachers, who is like super magical and she's like super intuitive, and like she's an amazing healer. She's also a massage therapist. When I found out she was putting on the course, I was like, I like, this is something I have to do. And um, when I took the course, the biggest thing that I learned was that in order to heal others, you have to first heal yourself. And so this is how, like, we got introduced to chakras and like healing yourself first, and how that makes you a better healer. And I kind of took that and ran with it, and have been doing chakra cleanses really ever since then, because it's a continuous journey. It doesn't stop. Yeah.
So Reiki and chakras kind of go hand in hand. Is that right?
They do.
I've never done Reiki before. Sarah's done it.
Well,
Yeah,
and I
Forgive
didn't,
me because I still know enough, but not.
but they're not
active.
necessarily the same. They're not the same thing. But because I've never really thought of them as, well, I don't know. I don't talk about them a ton when I get Reiki done, but I didn't realize they were so connected within Reiki as well.
Well, Reiki is life energy. That's literally what Reiki means, is life energy or life force. And so you can use your energy to heal another person's energy. And the trick is learning how to do that without draining your own energy. And that's why, like, the healing of yourself and the self-care is so important. And Reiki can be practiced either through placing your hands on somebody physically, or you can do it through distance or virtually. So there's a lot of different ways that you could do Reiki healing, but it absolutely has to do with energy.
Love that. So what is the chakra system then? Because I am familiar through yoga. There's the 7 chakras.
Yeah.
Your root. There's one at the pelvis. Is this right?
Yeah.
Oh, Ashley's got it at the sacral. There we go.
There is. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about them.
Yeah, I think first, it's good to understand that learning about science and learning about energy is the same thing. It's just spoken in 2 different languages. And sometimes you'll have like the science person kind of dismissing energy, or the energetic person dismissing science. But it's really the same thing. Like, if you think about our digestive processes or cellular, metabolic activity, if you think about cellular regeneration, if you think about neural activity, all of that requires energy, and that's science, and it's requiring energy. So it's definitely there. And the chakras are really, they're energy points. They're points in our bodies that have a high concentration of energy, and they can be found where several nerves meet or several nerves cross. Okay. And so that, in neuroanatomy, we call that a nerve plexus. So that is the area where several nerves meet. And so you can imagine all that neuroactivity, how much energy is being produced in that area. So we have various chakras throughout our body, but then we have the 7 main chakras, from the root all the way to the crown.
Love them. Our root, our sacral, solar plexus, heart, throat, third eye, and our crown. And my heart and throat is always like the one that I'm fully believe in the chakra system, and I don't think there's anything not to believe, but I believe in it because I feel it. Like, I get such discomfort when they're off.
And that's what I'm starting to wonder. And this is a question for you, Fanny, is like, how can will people know if they kind of have that blockage? Is it something as drastic as Sarah feeling that tension in her throat? It's really that evident.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah.
But not always.
No, not always. It can manifest in different ways. So sometimes it can come as a physical feeling where you do feel like a blockage, or if it's your solar plexus that is blocked, you might have some gastrointestinal issues where you might have like IBS or, a lot of nausea, stomach aches constantly. If it's your heart chakra, you might have heart palpitations. So you might feel it physically if you have if you have an imbalance, um, but it can also manifest in different ways. So you can have like reoccurring themes in your life. So, for example,
Right.
if your solar plexus is blocked, and your solar plexus has to do with your confidence and your energy and your power. And if that is blocked, you might find that you attract people who are overly confident because you have low self esteem. And so you may attract people who are arrogant in your life, people who, speak, too loudly or maybe belittle you. And those themes can come up quite often in your life. And that's not because of anything that you've done intentionally. That can be caused by like trauma, childhood wounds that have not been healed, um, different different things can cause imbalances, but it doesn't necessarily have to manifest in a physical way, but you can certainly feel it. Yeah.
It's interesting that you say they connect to these different things. I'd love to kind of talk about even with some of the chakras what they connect to, because I'll tell you now, and Ashley, I don't think I've ever told you this. I did have an energy clearing a few months ago, and one of the things that came out was I had this massive like root block that, I mean, for some of our listeners, they're gonna be like, Sarah's lost it. That's fine. I mean, this is my life, so I'm living it in the way that feels right for me. And they said I was picking it up and carrying it for myself, my sister, and my mother, and that I did this clearing to release it. But like that wasn't something I knew about, but it was around being controlled, and not having control, and releasing that, and actually like freeing myself and helping to clear up energy for my sister, my mother as well. But that was a really big shift for me, one that I didn't know about.
Yeah.
But when it happened, I could notice the changes after.
Yeah. You can unblock it. Sorry?
That's what I was gonna say. Like, can you actually feel something change after?
Well, I did in my life. Like this is like, I think this is what Fanny's saying, is the chakra system is kind of connected to how we exist in our body. Is that right?
Yeah, and in our bodies, it's an internal thing, and then the inside is connected to the outside. So if we have an imbalance inside, we're going to display that or express that outwardly as well, because each chakra relates to something specific in our body, and that also relates to something specific in our life, so a specific area of our life. So I'm not surprised at all that your root chakra had to do with issues within your family, because that's exactly what the root chakra is all about. And so sometimes you can get an adjustment, even a chiropractic adjustment on the lower part of your spine can open up that chakra and allow for like a free flow of energy.
So one thing I do want to know is we want the chakras to be balanced and open. Is that correct? Yeah. And what is that kind of connected to? Is that us living like in a balanced way, or what does that give us?
It's like losing 50 pounds automatically.
Wow.
It's like
a
honestly,
relief.
it's like, yeah, you walk around so much lighter, and you're able to be more present in the world and in each situation. And that's not to say that once you work through a chakra, it's going to be healed forever, and you're going to be able to express yourself in that way for the rest of your life. Like, no, challenges come up consistently, and we're always faced with difficulties and stress in life. But I think having like an understanding and something in place, like I for me, it's a chakra system and a chakra cleanse. It really kind of gives me an armor so that I can deal with different things that are happening inside of my life and inside my body.
Okay, so can we do, so you said that the root is tied down. Wait, can we do a chakra cleanse? Is that what you were just saying?
No, let's go through them.
Okay,
I was
let's
gonna
go.
say let's go through and then, yeah, let's talk about each one individually. Yeah.
So we have our root chakra. What's going on there?
So our root chakra, it's located at the base of our spine. So it's like around our anus, if I can say that.
That would be one of the
It's a
more
technical
polite
term.
things that people have said on this.
This is a body part, yeah. So yeah. So it's there physically, and it's really at our core. So that's really the center of our body, and that has to do with feelings of being grounded. That has to do with our core beliefs, our values, our family ties, our cultural beliefs, our tribal beliefs, everything that has to do with our core. So that is our root chakra. So imbalances here might be a disconnect from your family, a disconnect from culture, um, trauma within the family, not like a loss of identity, not knowing kind of who you are, and just not feeling like you're grounded anywhere in your life or in any particular environment. So that's the root chakra.
Very cool.
And then the sacral chakra, which is just above it, that is located in our pelvic girdle. So that is where all of our reproductive organs are. And this chakra has to do with our creativity and our sensuality, our sexuality.
Ooh.
And yeah, that's a very comfortable one to be in.
Gotta
Yeah.
loosen that up.
It has to do with our joy too, like our happiness. And some people even say financial abundance is related to this chakra as well.
We want that unblocked.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we worked through that one. And so an imbalance here might look like, a loss of creativity, a loss of passion, a loss, of your sexual expression, and really, a loss of joy. And I will also note that an imbalance can also be the other end of the spectrum. So like hypersexuality,
Right.
I'm not going to say over joyful, but it'll make it'll make more sense when you're working through the rest of the chakras. That there are both sides of the spectrum, and so when you find somebody, say for example, so solar plexus, which comes above the sacral, that has to do with our confidence and our energy, our power, and our will. And so if you have low self-esteem, you might attract somebody who's really arrogant. So that's both ends of the spectrum, and it's almost like you're attracted to each other because you're trying to balance each other out. You know what I mean? So it's really important to have that self-awareness so that you're not attracting what you're not expressing. And so I wrote about this in a recent post. It's really important to have that self-awareness, so that if the things that you're not expressing don't come at you in less desirable ways.
That's actually really helpful. Yeah, it's nice to know, a nice reminder. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, so that's our solar plexus, and then we have our heart. Yeah, I'm like looking. Where's my body? Our heart chakra. Yeah, so this has to do with love and compassion for yourself and also for others. And an imbalance here would, of course, look like a lack of empathy, a lack of compassion for other people, maybe like narcissism, cynicism, sociopath kind of behavior. That would be like a blockage of the heart chakra. And the throat has to do with our speaking our truth and using our voice. And of course, an imbalance, like you mentioned, you feel like a blockage, inability to speak your truth, and inability to speak up for yourself, and just a fear of doing that. That would be a blockage in the throat chakra. And then we have our third eye, which has to do with our vision and our perception, our intuition. And a blockage here, of course, is just an inability to think clearly and to kind of set goals for yourself and have a vision for yourself. And then the crown chakra, which is the top of our heads. Yes, that one has to do with our connection to the divine and enlightenment and spirituality, that kind of thing.
Ooh, that was it's nice to be reminded of those
Mhm.
things, because I think you hear about them and pick up on them like in tidbits, kind of in yoga classes or
Especially the crown
one.
the
Yeah.
heart.
But it's nice to have you kind of like tell us what they are connected to all the way through.
Yeah, and each one is connected to the one above it and below it. So I'll say, like, your throat chakra, for example, if this one is blocked, you're not able to receive love and compassion and speak from a place of love and compassion. And then when you're not able to do that, you're also not able to think clearly, which is your third eye chakra. So a blockage here will affect the blockage above and below. So that's another reason why it's important to have a cleanse and a free flow of energy.
Okay, so the blockages not only affect that aspect of our life, but also affect how we're able to receive and work with the other areas of our life as well.
Absolutely.
Ooh.
So interesting.
I love that. And it is like an energy center for us as well, too. Like, is it right that if our chakras are open, like we are at our fullest kind of strength and abilities? Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. We're able to receive messages, interpret messages, send messages energetically, intuitively. We're able to pick up on things a lot clearer. We might not overreact as much. We might be able to stand up for ourselves a little bit better. Yeah, we're just a lot more intuitive, a lot more balanced when things are open.
So if we don't want, I'm thinking of maybe it was the sacral one.
Yes.
We don't want passion blocks, and we don't want to attract the wrong people and put the wrong energy out. So how can we or anyone, if they don't have someone to work, is there any way, I guess, is what I'm wondering, can people help on their own kind of unblock some of these chakras and cleanse themselves, or is it something that they have to work with someone like you?
No, you can absolutely do it yourself. And that when I do a chakra cleanse, it's a personal thing. It's just for me. And so anybody who does a cleanse, it's extremely personal. You don't have to go to anybody. You don't have to do you don't have to ask for permission. You don't have to follow the guidelines. You do whatever you do whatever
in our
feels
reach.
Right. You do whatever feels right for you. But
I need to learn how to work on Sarah's throat for her. Like we'll help each other. You can help.
Okay.
But the thing is that I don't know, and I'm pretty in tune with my body. And I mean, you are really in tune, and you sit with yourself a lot, like through meditation and stuff. But I always feel a million different things of like crazy or whether being anxious. But now there could be multiple blocks, obviously, or one that's kind of blocking something else that's important. So I really want to try this.
Well,
yeah, I encourage you.
I think this brings up a question of like, how do you start to tune into where you might have blocks, or how can we do a cleanse? Any tips on those?
Yeah. Like I said, it's really flexible. You don't have to follow the guidelines. You do whatever feels right for you. What I like to do is a 28-day chakra cleanse, and that allows me to work through each chakra for a period of 4 days each. So I work through each one 2 times on the way up, and then I work through them 2 times for 2 days on the way back down. And through those 28 days, you are meditating. Well, that's one of the guidelines. There's specific questions that you ask. There's specific mantras that you say. I journal a lot, so there's a lot of questions that I go through, a lot of specific questions for each chakra to try to figure out why I'm feeling so troubled in a certain area, and trying to clear that other, whether it's through journaling and talking myself through it, or meditating my way through it, wearing the colors of that chakra, eating the colors of the food that's related to that chakra, and really just using that time for introspection and self-awareness. That's really all there is to it. I like to say, I like to recommend abstaining from like alcohol and recreational drug use when doing a cleanse. Eating as clean as possible. So I usually don't eat any animal products during this time, and I try to incorporate physical movement as much as I can. So either like yoga or exercise. This just allows you to really just tune in to yourself. It allows you to be really intentional and really aware about what you're doing and what you're saying and the things that you're thinking, and just knowing that you're doing this for a specific reason. And you also start a cleanse with an intention. So your intention could be, I want to clear up this energy with this relationship, or I have this goal that I'm trying to achieve, or I'm trying to decipher these feelings about this certain situation. So starting the cleanse with an intention allows you to kind of focus in on that as well.
Cool. So I guess that's actually a really great way to tune in with where you may have blockages, is if you are doing a cleanse, because you'll have kind of a harder time probably working through areas where you maybe aren't feeling as strong.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like, is that right?
I was thinking the same thing. Like, how would you identify the ones that are troubling? But I think if you're spending 4 days on each area, then you just know.
It's asking questions. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we are really great at reading ourselves, and sometimes we don't give ourselves enough credit for that ability. You will know. Like when I go through my root chakra, I'm like, yeah, 2 days that I'm excited, I'm energized. Sacral chakra, I'm like excited, I'm energized. Solar plexus, like I may have just had an argument with somebody, and I'm like, oh no, I'm not really feeling that confident today. Like when I had to record my solar plexus video, usually I'm really excited to do that, and like I had just had a really stressful situation, and then I was like, oh no, I'm not really feeling this one today. And so you'll pick up on those little resistances, and you'll know like this area is making me a little anxious today. It's making me a little uncomfortable. And blockages might last 24 hours. They might last 24 years. It can range, and you'll absolutely know. You'll know.
Is there another way too, Fanny, if someone doesn't want to do that, someone's me, like fully deep dive into the 28-day kind of commitment of this like cleanse of each area? Is there a way you can kind of try it a bit out? You know what I mean? Like how are the ways that we can kind of like test it out without like fully doing this deep dive and cleanse?
You can do it by learning about the chakras, learning about which each chakra is related to. Educating yourself is probably the best thing that you can do if you don't want to commit to a full 28 days, and then that way you will be able to understand if there's something that you're learning about that makes you uncomfortable, or something that you're learning about that makes you feel a little bit of resistance. And for example, if we're learning about our throat chakra, I'm like, oh, this one makes me feel, I feel a physical lump in my throat when I'm trying to think about possibly speaking in front of people. That makes me really nervous. And so you can spend a day or a couple of hours just learning about ways to unblock it. There's a lot of stuff on the internet. There's a lot of books you can read. And I'm developing a guided cleanse, which will ask you specific questions that'll help you kind of work through that, and also kind of give you tools for how to strengthen that. I'll share with you, Sarah, about how to unblock the throat chakra for me. What I have to do is like singing really loudly. And I think I shared this with you before.
Just listen.
Tell her, Sarah.
So when I went to see Mariah Pelly Smith, who's been on the show as well, is who I went to see for Reiki, and she told me this years ago before we had the podcast. And so I went and got singing lessons. And this is like a whole ordeal. So I'm not a natural born singer. It's not like a treat for anyone.
Yeah, I'm the same, girl. I'm the same.
But and that didn't do it for me. But do you know what did? Was I started chanting. Started doing some chanting meditations for 40 days, and I got these huge emotional clearings. This is like a very important chakra for me right now, I think, just in my life, for a number of reasons. And at the time, Mariah talked to me about this, and she was like, you really need to be using your voice in your work more. Since then, we've launched the podcast. So this was years ago that I talked to her about this, probably 2 years ago.
Yeah.
We created the podcast after that. And also I came to a point in my life where I realized I wanted to kind of change the area I was working in. And I'm starting to do a lot of new work. And a lot of it is around me actually sharing that. And that's what the block is connected to. So when it comes up now, I'm like, uh-oh, there's a message for me that I'm like not getting, or I'm not sharing something, and I need to move faster.
Yeah, honesty is a big thing. I you know, sometimes we suppress and repress so much, and that can cause a huge blockage. Like for me, I know there was things that were blocking my throat that I didn't even realize. Like there's, you know, things from childhood, and also being a woman, and also being a Black woman. You know, the Black people as a collective, our voice has been suppressed and oppressed for so long, and I didn't even know I was carrying that for a whole race. I didn't know. I didn't know. And also being a woman, our voice has been suppressed and repressed for so long. We were never encouraged to speak. We were never encouraged to talk out of turn. We weren't even allowed to vote. We weren't even allowed to go to school. There's so many, like, imagine what that would be like. And, you know, even to this day, there's still so much gender equality, and we, you know, are not always encouraged to speak up and speak out. And sometimes we're carrying that for other people, and we don't even know it. And some people are more sensitive to what's going on around them as a collective, and so sometimes you are just a little more sensitive to what's going on around you.
Well, I also think too, and this was kind of what I came to realize through my experience with my throat starting to become an actual physical discomfort, because before that I never would have recognized any discomfort as being like connected to a chakra. But I think when there's something in your body that you need to heal, it will eventually, your body knows how to communicate with you. And if you don't pay attention to the little clues, it will eventually start screaming at you. And this goes back to what you were talking about that idea of dis-ease. Like it was just such discomfort developing my body, because I was like needing to pay attention to this, and this was important for me to deal with. And I've been ignoring it.
Yeah, you needed to speak, you needed to share your story, you needed to yell things from the rooftop. You know, singing wasn't your thing. Journaling was my thing. Like at least I had a way to share my truth. That way it wasn't stuck here. It wasn't just stuck in my throat. There was a way for me to express it, and then from there I was able to actually verbalize it and speak it out.
I love that. And some of the I mean, they are fun. I think what I'm realizing as we talk about this, there are really fun ways to work with your chakras, and you kind of touched on this, but even, you know, wearing certain colors can be really good for your chakras. Like I've got green on, so this is associated with the heart chakra. So if you're working with a chakra, you can do things like that. You can play certain music.
Did you plan that?
No, I didn't. I was going to say your shirt because it's vibrant pink, but I'm like, I don't know what color this is associated with.
Oh, I thought that was red. Pink is also, I think pink is associated with the crown as well. No, it's associated with the heart.
We're both associated.
That would be my area of, I don't get them as much anymore, but there was a period in my life when I was feeling like I thought there was something wrong with me. Like, why is my heart racing? Why do I feel like this? But obviously it was when I was really unhappy with a job and kind of like, you know, wanting to do a life change. So I think that our listeners probably have felt some type of physical symptom to maybe going against what their body wants. And as a result, like you said, something just kind of progresses and gets worse, and you feel it physically.
Yeah, they say God throws the pebble before he throws the brick. And I was like, I have boulders coming at me at one point. I'm like, okay, I can't ignore I can't ignore this anymore. I have to really turn inward and do some introspection and some healing. So yeah, and to go back to what Ashley had said, like if you don't want to do a 28-day cleanse, and you don't really, you don't have that time to commit, you just want to do something, there's something just to start wearing the colors, like you guys had just mentioned, wearing the colors, eating foods that are associated with that chakra, um, saying a mantra that's associated with that chakra, just something to keep you mindful.
Mhm.
That's something kind of low key that you can do.
And the journaling questions, because I've done those before, and they are good because they do help direct your attention to like the root of like
there's specific questions
for
to
each
journal.
one, like
Gotcha.
to explore what's happening in your throat or at your heart. So you can look those up as well, and I've found them helpful in the past.
Yeah, absolutely. And I list a bunch of them too in the guided cleanse. And there's ones that I've worked through during my personal cleanse. There's questions that my instructor has posed to me, and then there's questions that I have started asking myself just to kind of go deeper into each chakra. So those are all things that you can definitely explore, and I'll be sharing a lot of them too.
Amazing.
Guided cleanse, yeah.
The other thing I think is nice that you said, and it ties into your question asked about, do you start with a 28-day cleanse? Is I think even once you start to get curious about the idea of tuning into your body and like knowing that there is a chakra system and it's connected to these different parts, like you do start to notice little things. So like it took, yes, like a boulder for me to start paying attention to my body, like my throat, it was terrible. And I was in discomfort and pain every day. But once I started to look, you really can learn the subtleties of your body, and your body does talk to you. And it's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and you'll pick up on patterns that you've had as, a youth and a child that you didn't even know that they were even significant. Like when I was a youth, I had a lot of GI, gastrointestinal problems, and I didn't know, but my confidence was really low at the time, and I was dealing with a lot of anxiety and a lot of depression, and I just it was manifesting in my gut, and I didn't know that chakra was blocked, and I was dealing with that. So once I was able to kind of find my niche and find what works for me, that has actually become one of my favorite chakras. So you'll pick up on themes, you'll pick up on different things as you go along.
This is so cool.
I can't read to
and more. I know, and I'm enjoying through this conversation realizing how much it connects to, because it comes up in yoga, it comes up in Reiki, which I did know about that, but sort of subconsciously comes up in Kundalini yoga,
and
which I've been doing
acupuncture too. Yeah, just because everything's so connected, and that's what they're stimulating is your nervous system, trying to remove stagnation. So I feel like,
do you know,
I had acupuncture today.
It also comes up in my spirit cards that I work with, which is that's how I tune in. What?
The tarot, like tarot cards?
They're animal spirit cards that I work with, that I use every day. And I love them because I'm not as into the tarot stuff, but these ones, it does tie to the chakra system, some of them.
Yeah. Chakras everywhere because energy is everywhere. So you'll find energy everywhere you go. You'll find it, people you cross in the street, you'll find it in science, you'll find it in yourself.
Well, you can feel it. You can feel it when you go into a room or when you come across a certain person. You can like feel their energy.
Totally.
Absolutely, you can. It's in the weather. It's everywhere. And some people are, highly, highly sensitive to it. And I believe that, it can cause a lot of turmoil in people that are highly sensitive to it, because sometimes they don't know how to navigate it and process it and filter it. But it is absolutely everywhere. It is absolutely everywhere.
We're with you.
I love this because I think that the chakra system is such a great place to start exploring your own energy and your own body. If you were like new, like totally
journaling, it feels like it all ties in together.
But I think this is a really cool place to start if you're just interested in start doing some self-discovery. The chakra system seems like a great place to start.
It absolutely is. It's worked for me. It's worked for a lot of people. It's not related to like any specific religion or any specific like ideology. It's just about you and yourself and your energy. It's a very personal thing. So if you're about that life, if you're interested in that, then I think it's a really great place to start for sure.
Oh, so good.
We love that.
So much. Fanny, when's your course going to be out? Do you know yet?
So the goal is to have it out for May 1st.
Amazing.
Yeah, so keep an eye out. I'll definitely share. I'm really excited about it. I'm gonna run through it one more time myself and just kind of make some tweaks, and I'm open to feedback once it comes out. So anybody who decides to work through it, if anybody has any questions while I'm developing it, definitely let me know, and I'll try to answer everything as much as I can throughout the cleanse.
Very cool. We have, before we get into the fun and silly part of this show,
Which we love.
we want to know what's lighting you up right now. What are you excited about?
My children.
Aw.
The
Baby!
easy
I
one.
know.
The
Two
easy one.
babies.
And the 10-year-old.
I know, but he can like help with the
Yeah, he
babies,
can
right?
help.
Like he's.
But even the dynamic of the three of them, just like you would think 10 years difference, like they would be completely, just distant from each other, not be able to connect. But he is like just such a responsible young person, and he's just really connecting with them. So my heart is just full, just watching them, but also putting them in a separate room so I can work on some things that I'm passionate about. That also lights me up. Kudos to the moms who are single moms and they just focus on their babies all the time. That is not an easy thing. I'm definitely glad that I can have them, and I can also have my passions that I'm working on at the same time. So they're both lighting me up at the same time.
Yeah, that's beautiful, Fanny. Fanny, where can people find you online?
You can find me online on my Instagram, which is Blue Nile Massage and Wellness. You can find me on my website, which is BlueNileMassageTherapy.com. And you can also find me on Facebook, where I post a lot of things on my personal page. It's a professional page. My first name is Fantanesh, last name is Attomsa, and I try to post as much about chakras and the work that I'm doing, just to kind of educate and inform people about alternative stuff that is out there.
Love it. All right, it's time for the fun part. We're going to play Queenie Grams, which is a made-up game we have. It's very easy. You're going to pick a number between 1 and 100, and we'll ask you a question, and then we'll all go around and answer one.
All right, 1 and 100. 77.
Ooh, I like the number 77. I think that's a great little number. Okay. What fad or trend do you hope comes back?
Oh, God. Are high-waisted jeans gone already? Someone told me those
Oh my
were
God.
gone.
I know. Okay. Yeah. Save
Skinny
them.
jeans.
Save them for us right now, Fanny.
I'll never stop. with the
I'll
high
never
heels.
stop with the skinny jeans. No. Oh God. I didn't like anything that was in the past.
Or any you want to get rid of, even? Because I can think of more I want to get rid of.
Yeah, I want to get rid of the fanny packs. I'm glad that those are being phased out. I'm sorry if you guys have them.
I don't.
I have one for running, but not.
I love that.
Yeah, they gotta go.
That's a good answer. Ash, what about you? Is there any fad or trend you want to get rid of?
Well, I'm not here for getting rid of the high-waisted pants or the skinny jeans. I'm with you, Fanny. I feel like they still look good.
They do. Who decided this?
I don't know. I think that maybe because so many other people do it, like of all ages, they don't want to be the same, and they're like, that's not cool anymore.
Yeah, here's what I'm thinking. The youth.
Sarah's in tap with the youth.
No, I don't. I'm not in tap with them. The youth are upset that we look so good still, and that, and they're like, we need to bring back the low waist because we know
we can't wear them.
That we can't wear them.
Some people can.
Yeah,
well, I can't.
I just don't want to.
They're feeling too much heat from
some type of way. Yeah.
The youth plus one level.
I'm
whatever
really
we
happy
are.
that the headbands are back. I'm really into headbands.
Okay.
Yeah, the skinny
Mhm.
ones or like the thicker ones?
No, like the thick, like almost like this microphone top, because if you don't want to do your hair or you need to, you just put it on. Lifesaver.
I like
Yeah, I'm
them.
into that too. I love
Yeah.
that. All right, Ash, pick a number for us, darling.
I'm gonna go with 19.
19.
Mhm.
All right, let's see. Would you rather have a pedicure or a manicure?
I love both right now, but I'm gonna say pedicure. My feet have been
Mm,
tired and they need love.
I'm with you.
They need a rub.
Fanny, how
Yeah.
about you?
I agree. The manicures never last.
Mm-hmm.
They
Mhm.
never last with the dishes and with everything you do with your hands. It's like they will not, toes will last forever. So I need something. I need more bang for my buck.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Also, the foot massage, just nothing better.
The
That's
hot
true.
water.
That's
Although
true.
I'm still dreaming of the day I can have like a drink while I'm getting my pedicure again.
You can do that.
No, not
Yeah.
right now. During COVID.
We could get someone to
Oh.
come to our house and do it.
All right, I'm gonna do number 54. What is your favorite childhood show that you wish could get a reboot? I'm gonna go with Clueless. It just came into my mind. I really liked Clueless.
Love that.
Sharon Dion, they were my faves growing up.
Yeah, they were a
They
cute
were-
little duo.
Yes. How about you?
I just thought of
Well, Family Matters. I loved Family Matters. I'm glad Fresh Prince has never died.
That's
Fresh Prince
true.
has they've just kept going. So I'm glad that they're, alive and well. They've actually what did they do? They revamped the Fresh Prince mansion, and now it's like an Airbnb, and so people can go and visit and do all these things. So
I did
yeah.
not know that.
I
That is
think
so
I
cool.
remember that, seeing that
LA.
one. Yeah.
We'll mark that down for our next trip.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I love that show.
How about you, Ash? What show do you want to reboot?
Did you say a movie?
No, I said Clueless. Well, Clueless was a TV show too.
Was it?
Mhm.
Oh, okay. Because then I had movie in my movie. I'm
But
gonna
you
tell
can
what
say a movie.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Oh, was that a
That's a
particular?
movie.
I loved that movie, but the reason
Yeah.
I bring it up is because I have several nieces and nephews, and I sometimes reference, I forget why we were talking about this,
Mhm.
and they'd never heard of it. So when you hear stuff like that, I
Makes you
think they need to
feel-
remake it.
All right.
I also heard that they were redoing The Wizard of Oz, and people are not
Oh.
happy about it.
People are
Oh,
not happy.
No,
why?
because it's such a classic. I think they should just
Right.
like leave it alone.
Gotcha. Makes
Well,
sense.
Anyways,
We
stay
don't
tuned.
know. Fanny, this was so fabulous to have you on with us today, and we loved
you.
learning from you. And I know sharing about the chakra system is something you're so passionate about, and you've been sharing more and more on your social media. So thank you for coming here with us and
Yeah.
teaching us all about it.
Thank you guys for the opportunity. Honestly, as much as we can educate and inspire other people and just promote self-care and self-love, that's what I'm here for. So thank you guys for allowing me to do that.
Awesome. This is great.
Thank you.
Thank you.